Hello, my name is Dennis Brooks. I'm a graduate student here at the University of Alabama at Birmingham at the Colott School of Business. I work in the Colott School of Business Colott Tutor Lab. I am in charge of online tutoring. So today we're going to discuss relevant costing for managerial decisions right after I tell you how you can get a hold of us. You can reach us at any time at Colott Tutor Lab at uab.edu, or you can reach us at Colott Space Tutor Lab on Skype if you have any questions, or if you even want to arrange an individualized Skype tutoring session. So today we're going to talk about relevant costing for managerial decision making. Managerial decision making is a 5-step process. You define the task and the goals. What are you going to do and how are you going to do it? You identify the alternative actions. What else could we be doing instead of this? Is there something that we could be doing that would make us more money? And that right there really comes down to what an opportunity cost is. That's what identify alternative actions is. You look for other opportunities. You collect the relevant information, you select a course of action, and then once you've been doing your business for a bit, you stop, you analyze and assess your decisions. Because you don't want to just keep doing it if you're throwing good money after bad. If you find out that you're not particularly happy with the way that things are going, you start back at the top and go through another decision-making process. So we're going to talk about relevant costs. Most financial measures of revenues and costs from accounting systems are based on historical costs. Now, I know you guys remember from way back in chapter 14, we talked about how managerial cost accounting is nothing like financial accounting, because in here we can play with all sorts of things. And financial accounting is governed by GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, which is handed out by the FASB, the Financial Accounting Standards Board, which is overseen by the Financial Accounting, that's FAF, I can't remember the last F. Sorry, can't remember the last F. Anyways, are based on historical cost. Although historical costs are important, especially in budgeting, we use historical cost a lot in budgeting, and we've been doing a lot of talking about this budgeting lately. But in managerial accounting, we don't only look backwards, we look forwards. And as what we're going to talk about here, historical costs are not as important, as they are most often costs that have already been paid and are known as sunk costs. Now, I highlighted that because I wanted you to remember that one, because that's an important definition. Sunk costs are historical in nature and have already been paid and have no relevancy when making forward-looking costing decisions, unless the sunk, like say you're deciding to go even further along in the direction that you are. But really, sunk costs have no relevancy in management accounting decision for forward-looking costing decisions, and I want you to remember the forward-looking part of that. Now, there are also opportunity costs to keep in mind when making decisions. Opportunity costs are the costs that you are giving up or the potentials you are passing by to take the course of action you have decided upon. So over here, I have decided we're going to make donuts, and then I find out, man, donuts aren't very profitable here. And so now we're going to start making hot dogs. And all of a sudden we're making money because hot dogs are more profitable than donuts were. But having paid the price to go into donuts, this going into the hot dogs would have been considered one of those opportunity costs until we switched over, and then donuts would be an opportunity cost that we were giving up. So this definition, make sure you pay attention to this and make sure that I don't confuse you, okay? Make sure that you understand what an opportunity cost is, and what it's there for. Okay, make or buy. Now, a lot of this stuff is from chapter 17 and chapter 19, and they are things that we've talked about in a whole lot. So we're going to talk about make or buy. Many times managers can be faced with a decision whether to make something or to buy it elsewhere. In effect, this is asking whether you, the company with excess capacity, should make or outsource a service or manufacturing job. As an example, many companies outsource their IT needs rather than incur the cost it would take to make a relevant IT department. And as we've all been watching in the news, man, you have to really stay up on your IT development to stay up with the current generation of malware and other things of that nature. So there are people who decide, you know what, I can't afford to do what some of these other companies do to stay as effective in IT as I need to be. So I'm going to hire someone to come in and do that. So they're outsourcing their IT department. Make or buy, scrap or rework, these are all things that you're seeing in your chapter. Sell or process are all variables on the same decision making. You see how much it would take for you to do it yourself or how much it would take to outsource it to another company or to buy a new one or whatever. You then base your decision off which one works best for you or your company. I could make this a lot more complicated and put a lot more fancy accounting words in it, but there's really not any need to. Segment elimination. Now, we talked about this in chapter 19 when we were talking about absorption costing. Sometimes managers have to decide to sell something at a lower cost. We also talked about that in absorption costing, where say we sell $45,000 to something per year, but we have the capacity to sell 5,000 more because we can sell 50,000 without incurring any more fixed costs. And if you go back in chapter 19, you'll see where I talk about that a lot. But if I can, without disturbing my current price structure by letting my current customers know, there's times where it makes sense for me to sell something for cheaper than what it is. And sometimes it makes sense for me to eliminate a segment of my business, but sometimes it doesn't make sense for me to eliminate that business. And that's what we're going to talk about with segment elimination. Basically, to sell at a lower cost, can I make money at a lower price point without my normal customers finding out? Then you sell if you can, and you don't sell if you can't. That's for the talking about the person comes in, wants a 5,000 special order. You've got the capacity to make it without running into anything, but it's lower than what you normally sell it for. And then when we talk about with segment elimination is really easy. You look at the fixed costs that are going to remain whether you eliminate the segment or not. That goes with depreciation, selling and administrative costs that get assigned to that department that are now, if you eliminate that department, are going to be spread across all the other departments. So if your segment elimination and you look at your fixed costs that are going to remain whether you eliminate the segment or not, and you go from there. If the income from the segment to be eliminated is more than its fixed costs, you keep it, because while it may not be making money due to fixed cost, the elimination of that segment means that its fixed costs go to other profitable departments, and now those departments may or may not be profitable anymore. And I believe I talked about this before in chapter 29. I've personally seen this hundreds of times during my career. I was a regional director for a company, and I had 300 stores. And I'd talk about closing a store, and I'd start getting calls from managers going, hey, if you close that store, am I going to make enough money to cover that administrative cost that store was carrying, or is it going to cost me money? So segment elimination is a big decision to make, and the easiest rule I can tell you, you look at the fixed costs that are going to go, and if the income to be eliminated is more than its fixed cost, you keep it. Anyways, let's see. Whoops. Okay, so that looks like that's chapter 23. Again, you can reach us. Most of this we've covered again in chapter 19. You can go to the CoLAT Space Tutor Lab YouTube stream, pull up chapter 19 in absorption costing, and it'll go over a lot of this same stuff that you're looking at in your book. These make or buy decisions, scrap or rework, sell or process, they're all the same thing. They're just asking you whether I should make it or buy it. Should I scrap it or rework it, or should I scrap it and buy a new one? Should I buy a new one, or should I rework? I mean, the variables are innumerable. Anyways, you can reach us here at the CoLAT Tutor Lab at uab.edu, or you can reach us on Skype at CoLAT Space Tutor Lab it's just CoLAT Space Tutor Lab for Skype. Anyways, my name is Dennis Brooks, and this is chapter 23.